super late last night after I uploaded some big news. Literally, I think like not a few minutes, but maybe like an hour or so after I uploaded the news that the part 2 reveal stuff will be happening soon. We got the information for the EZA for LR Tech BROLY. Now, of course, I have seen that this guy is getting an EZA, but I have not looked at a single thing in his kit, because even though I'm obviously late to uploading this, I still wanted to record my first thoughts, first kind of like genuine reaction, because, it is a BROLY at the end of the day, and what we are hoping for, okay, just so I can state my expectations, I am hoping for this rotation of this BROLY, and this BROLY to be very, very good, right? Because we're already sharing 6 out of 7 links. I am very, very excited for this. Now, unfortunately, it is a thing that this rotation, it's not the worst rotation, but could have been a lot better. But it's like, if we could have a really good BROLY besides the new one, man, I would really appreciate that. Because this guy, again, he's not what he could. He's definitely better, but he's, All right, let's talk about it. Let's see what he does. Right now, I would just assume, right, if we delete this guy, these 2 rotations are kind of what you want to go with. I have not looked at his details, but again, I'm assuming this guy is going to be cooking in some way, shape, or form. Let's hop into it. So, the first thing, like I mentioned in the video, I wanted to see is him maybe stacking defense on 12 and or 18 key. I think if he can get off to a really good start, that's fine. He also needs some base stats. I think they do have to be careful, because if they give him a lot of stats, especially when he transforms, he can end up doing a lot more. They know what they're doing, obviously, right? Or maybe they don't. Let's see. So, leader skill jumps to 150, as we already knew. He raises attack for 1 turn, no defense. He greatly stacks attack, and is it still the 4th turn? Greatly raises defense for 1 turn. Why couldn't he raise defense on 12? Okay. Wow, 3 key and 200%? 120 when performing a super attack? Really? Plus an additional 120 if it is an 18 key. Holy. How hard is he hitting? Okay. Alright. Plus an additional attack plus 50% when the target enemy is in attack down or defensive down status. So they kept this there but applied it to a different effect. And he is lowering one or, I mean, it would have been great if he was lowering both, because if an enemy can't have their defense lowered but they can have their attack lowered, it's just a missed opportunity. I mean, here, again, you just lower attack and defense. Sorry, raise your attack and defense and then just lower attack and defense. It's not that hard. Because, again, at least you have a higher chance of getting that extra attack, but it's not the biggest thing in the world anyways, right? So 3 key there. Plus an additional 3 key and launches an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack when facing only 1 enemy. So before, he didn't really have a 1 enemy buff. That's only something transformed BROLY had, right? And this was a medium chance. So they literally took this from the transform kit and just made it better. Okay. Okay. I mean, that looks pretty good, right? And that's going to be most of the time, which is interesting. But again, you're not even raising your defense there, so whatever, I guess. Plus an additional key plus 5 and launches additional super attack when facing 2 or more enemies. Transforming conditions are met. So again, just literally a lot better, right? Especially the extra key there. So that is definitely an improvement for this BROLY. A massive improvement. I wonder, like, okay, let's just see when he transforms, because this seems, there's no, like, what? Hold on, let's see. Remember, BROLY, he can get up to big boy numbers. Please raise defense on both super attacks. Doesn't have to be stacking, but okay, yeah. So Raises attack and defense, greatly lowers defense. Greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn, and then massively lowers defense. Okay, all right. I mean, massively again, like like massively lowering attack is just so much better than lowering defense, to be honest. So it could have been attack and defense, to be honest, but it is what it is. 4 key and 220%. 120 when performing a super attack. Plus an additional attack plus 166%, dude. Remember, this guy, with just having this and this, he was putting up big boy numbers. This is funny to me. You get an 18 key. You're raising your attack by 50% here. You have 220, 120, 166? Guards all attacks, and for 2 turns, extreme class allies chance of performing a critical hit plus 6% if it is an ultra super attack. So you essentially give up raising your own defense, but you do get guard, and I'm going to assume this is within the turn, right? Because the thing is, this is obviously within the turn. I'm going to assume this is also within the turn as well. I mean, it would be balanced if that was the case. There's no way he just gains infinite guard. It's tricky with the wording here. Okay, so this is a slot 2 character, basically, is what I'm reading. Which is good for this rotation, actually. Because you want him in slot 2, you want him to be able to perform his 18 key. And granted, with the team that he's on, you get 6 key from the leader, 10 key by himself. There are really no orb changers right now on the team, at least, but you only need to collect. I mean, yeah, you're gonna be down 8 key essentially. 6, 10. Yeah, I mean, he has to have more key in his K. Yeah, let's continue reading. Okay, so the crit support is cool. If that could have also been key, that would have been pretty nice. But it is for 2 turns, and some characters already have an insanely high chance to crit anyway, so it's going to make the entire team for 2 turns a lot stronger. So I mean, it's definitely, it could have been, we have to see it in practice, I guess. I'm just trying to process this because there's no way they gave him all these stats like this, right? Plus an additional attack plus 100% when the target is an attack or wow. Dude, he has to be. If an enemy is an attack or defensive down status and he gets his 18 key, is he just like the hardest hitting unit in the game? Oh my god, his active skill too. Dude. I don't think am I dumb for thinking that a character pre-EZA who is hitting 15, 20 mil attack stats, of course with like items and certain rotations and stuff, but not every character, even with items, can hit 15, 20 mil attack stats. So the fact that this character here has now 220 when they didn't have anything before, greatly raises when they didn't do that before. 120, they didn't have that before. 166, another 100%. Plus additional 4 key and launches an additional attack that has a great chance of becoming a super attack when facing only 1 enemy. Wow. So you enter the turn with 8 key there. You have 6 key from the... You're at 14 key during most fights. And you have a additional attack that has a great chance of becoming a super attack. Which is going to allow you to raise your stats again. Specifically defense. Because at this point the attack won't really matter, right? It's the defense that you really want to be raising. I'm trying to think, like, with Broly's defense, to 24 key, this active skill has to be, and will probably make this Broly, like if this Broly has the enemy in one of these statuses, and he pops the active skill, that has to be one of the most damaging turns in the game, right? My only concern, I'm trying to process because I did not expect this Broly to be like this. I'm not gonna lie. When I made my video about how I really wanted them to build Broly or whatever, I was saying that like they got to be super careful. Like I gave him 100% the stats start a turn, and then literally kept this the same because it's like I know how OP it was going to be. So for them to do 220, and maybe yeah, I was underestimating it, but 120 here, 166, 100, like what? I really need to test this guy out, man. Holy. So immediately I'm thinking, and then you have 10% attack, 2 key. Ooh, wow, 2 key. So on this rotation at link level 10, we essentially have 16 key for Broly, right? 6 key from leader. 8 key from passive is 14, and prepare for battle is 16 key. So he's hitting that 18 key every turn. I mean, 15% attack, 5% defense, and 2 key. Berserker needs to change, man. What in the world? Oh, Saiyan lineage as well. Wow, so he just starts the turn with 18 key. So 4 key, 10% to stats, 20% to attack, 40. So 4 key, 40% from attack, 40% attack from links, 10% defense from links, and then an extra 15% when performing a super attack. Yeah, I'm concerned with this Broly's defense, like, because if this had 166 on top of it in terms of defense, that would have been really strong. Or maybe even do additional attack plus 166 and defense plus 66%, right? Or some extra defensive raise on that 18 key, because of course the 120 raise on top of the 220 on top of the greatly raise is going to be great for this Broly, obviously. But I wonder, and of course the guard is going to be good, but I wonder how he's going to be tanking, to be honest. If he increased this by at least 66%, I'd be a lot more confident in his ability to tank. 10% defense from links is also good, right? Not like it's going to be anything super game breaking. And honestly, if this was massively raised defense for 1 turn, then massively raised defense at least for 1 turn, that would have been very, very interesting. I think Broly should have greatly raised defense on 12. Not stacking, but greatly raised defense for 1 turn, and then raise attack for 1 turn on 12. And then massively raise defense for 1 turn, and then greatly raise attack for 1 turn on 18 key. I think that would have made him a lot, like significantly better defensively. Because on those turns where you're facing one enemy, where you're able to get that great chance to proc, you are in 1 turn massively and greatly raising your defense. Which of course is just going to be so much more impactful compared to simply greatly raising and then just raising, right? This Broly looks really good. So immediately, again, I'm thinking, like, you run this rotation. Your other rotation is this. And then, since you're on movie bosses, oh my god, 1 support has to be Turles. Right? Dude, on a rotation where you have this, all links level 10, and then Turles just floating there, giving him 3 key and 50%, and then you pop his, oh my god, he has to be, that has to be, again, one of the most damaging rotations in the game. I don't see how it's not, to be honest with you. Okay, so yeah, I would say you put, Turles in slot 3, Those are your 5 characters so far, just for me to understand this. I mean, Broly, Chilai, and Lemo, you know, like, if they can get 7 orbs, obviously they can cook. The support that they offer is going to obviously be very, very impactful. If they can get to 24 key, like, this is one of those units where it's like, if you can get 7 more key spheres while also obtaining 24 key, this unit becomes obviously extremely valuable, because if you're just supporting regardless, I guess not regardless, because you can, you know, of course, but to be able to decide, you know what, I'm going to support with offense or with defense today, and then also hit the 24 key and give everyone 10%, like 10% damage reduction for this rotation or this rotation with Broly is going to be very, very nice. Honestly, I know he's an orb goblin and definitely a liability, but this would be a fun thing to run. These two as floaters would be a very fun thing to run, especially with these two as your main. And then we need one more character to really finish the team. I mean, I guess we can just laugh and say Cell Max because of how Cell Max is just built, right? Cell Max is, I mean, I don't really see, honestly, Cell Max as a slot 3 character, right? You just want to make use of the first few turns of his entrance as fast as possible. So, I don't know, I mean, you know, he can definitely cook. He's obviously one of the best units in the game. I'm not trying to downplay him. But I mean, if I'm running these 2 main rotations, and I wonder what value he's really giving me in slot 3 compared to the value he gives in slot 1 or slot 2, right? I mean, obviously, the unit he is going to provide a lot of value in slot 3. My point is just saying, like, I mean, he's just probably one of the best units anyways. Like, you know, you probably just want to run these 3 units, honestly, as floaters, because I can say whatever I want, but who am I replacing him with on this team, right? Like, I don't, come on, like, let's be real. This Frieza, I mean, he's obviously, like, yo, you really got to pick him. The only issue with him is, he is a super boss's support. And out of our main rotation, there's only one super boss, which is AGO Broly. So it's just, he's just becomes useless as a support. And then this right here is also another liability, because if you're on this rotation here, there is no super boss's ally on the turn, which means he does not grant himself that extra damage reduction, and he just becomes a liability in slot 3. Yeah, so he just goes from all of this to basically just this. And I think Frieza is a character that definitely needs everything he can get if we're going to run him on the team. You know, if this was a movie boss support, I would throw him on the team, honestly, over Cell Max. Because even though Cell Max is just significantly better anyway, I just value the cohesiveness and the support with the main rotations I'm trying to run. Like, if I'm trying to run Cell Max on my rotation, I'll just do that, right? But again, it's like he just becomes a lot worse, I think, on the team. So, and you do have another super boss here in Cell Max, and even the Broly trio. They're on super bosses, right? The only issue is that they're on slot 3, so you're not seeing them on the same, like, these units, if your rotations are never changing and never locked and these continue to be slot 3, these units are never going to ever intertwine, right? So it doesn't make sense from that point of view. So honestly, I mean, I would take Frieza out. This looks like this team right here. See, I mean, who else can we really say? I mean, I guess Frieza for the early fight damage reduction, right? Broly, I don't know about Broly, to be honest. I mean, it's also interesting, too, because part 2, I'm assuming there's going to be a new LR Broly. And it's going to be really interesting to see where that Broly fits and who he's replacing on this. Like, what? Imagine that Broly's like a crazy, insane support character, like STR Turles level support, but also STR Turles level character. That'd be really, really, really good. I don't know how it would work though. And part 2, they could honestly just drop a legendary Super Saiyan character, because part 1 was just Broly. And this part 2 character, the movie 10 Broly here, is just Super Saiyan Broly. So we honestly could just get a new legendary Super Saiyan Broly and call it a day, because again, this guy, as great as he could have been, he's just as could have been. I said could have been for a reason. So you can also just replace him, right, with a new legendary Super Saiyan Broly. Or Bio Broly. That'd also be a new named character, and we can cook. This is something I actually cannot wait to try out this rotation and to pop this active skill and just to see how much damage he does, because this is one of those things. It's like Broly, when you transform with this goblin of a character, this demon of a character here. So if you transform with this Broly, can I oh, his art is just... okay. So, when you transform with this guy, this rotation... it's unfortunate that this guy is tech, to be completely honest with you. I'm not a big fan of double tech rotations, or double mono rotations, because, you know, you face a specific int enemy and you can be cooked. The point I'm trying to make, though, is that this rotation is probably going to be one of the most damaging rotations in the game, and if you have Turles in slot 3, it's probably over. I mean, I really want to see double Broly and Turles on rotation. Yeah, this is wow. All the links they share, all the support, the active dude, like let me know what you guys think. I'm actually impressed. Again, I am concerned about how he's going to look defensively, but because you're going to be able to get the 18 key for free, essentially, as long as he's link level 10, it's literally a free 18 key, like literally, right? Did I miscalculate? 6 key from leader, 8 key from passive if you're facing one enemy, which is most of the time. So 8 plus 6 is 14, and then he has Saiyan lineage and prepare for battle. So it's 4. Yeah, it's 18 key. He starts off the turn. He's obviously not guarding, but when he launches that in slot 2, he's guarding. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Honestly, that makes me feel better. The fact that it's you basically have a guaranteed 18 key. I mean, it's literally guaranteed. Guaranteed 18 key, guaranteed guard, basically. Again, he has to attack first, so AoE characters will definitely do damage to him, but those aren't really extremely popular, so most of the time it's going to be guarding. And when he does launch that attack and he's guarding, he's also greatly raising his defense here, raising it, but this is basically a massive raise within his passive anyways. And the additional super can also give him a little extra juice as well, so I am very, 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 very impressed. I cannot wait to see what he looks like in game. This is going to be one of the most enjoyable rotations, man. I'm happy that this turned out a lot better, at least on paper, turned out a lot better than what the int version had. But we'll call it there. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you all in the next one.